Shawn Porter says that he beats Danny Garcia, Earl Spence is next. More than likely.
Yeah, this is your boy Complete. Shot down. This for the crib. I got my guys Quiet Storm and Arrogant. Yeah. Tiger, the beat banger on production. Feeling that. So turn your radios up. It's something you can feel, y'all. Come on. I speak with the spirit of Martin and Malcolm for brothers willing to ride no matter the outcome. And for all the single mothers, the haters and the lovers, the weakest and the toughest, brothers who bring the ruckus. And all of my guys who win the grind, who love the hood and hate it at the same time, man.
What's up, family? This is Tiger X, and welcome to my boxing channel, Tiger X Boxing. Shout out to the LDBC and all the affiliates. Please support the LDBC, all its members, and their channels. Go to Shop Fight Fan TV and buy you some merchandise. Check out Trill Boxing Talk in the morning. If you're not already doing that, you're missing life. Special congratulations to my brother Junior the Truth for reaching that 1K mark. Congratulations, bruh. You definitely deserve it. You're well overdue. That's one of the hardest working brothers on YouTube. Salute to you, sir. And salute to the entire LDBC. Okay, let's get to it. All right, recently Shawn Porter came out, and Danny Garcia both. They've been talking about fighting Earl Spence next. And people have been real excited about this. And people have been saying that finally these guys are talking about fighting Earl Spence next. And let me say first, I do think that the winner of this fight will fight Earl Spence, because I think the business of boxing has said that that's what's going to be next. PBC and Showtime, I think they have let them know that that is the fight, that's the next fight. I'm not as excited about what I'm hearing from these guys, though, as most people are, because what I'm hearing is like a resignation of this is going to be the next fight, because they pretty much know this is going to be the next fight. Danny Garcia sounds more sincere to me when I hear him talk about being a fighter that's just, he fights and he really don't care who he fights. And that's really been his MO. We haven't really heard Danny calling out people in the past. We kind of end up seeing him in fights. And other than the one time I heard Danny Garcia call out Jeff Horn, again, because you could tell because they thought he was food. I haven't heard Danny Garcia calling out people, though. So this video is pretty much about Shawn Porter. Now, in the video that he did with Blue Blood Sports TV, that everybody is saying that he is now saying he'll fight Earl Spence. And shout out to Blue Blood Sports TV. Blue Blood Sports TV is killing them on all coasts, and he just doing it smooth. He asking the questions that we want to hear. He doing it in a polite, respectful way that they can't even when they try to goad him into to making the interview a little more confrontational. He don't even bite. And just shout out to you, sir. Salute. You're doing a hell of a job. But in that video, again, let me say for the record that I do believe the fight will happen. But I believe it's going to happen because these guys are going to have no other choice. But what I hear from Shawn Porter is a resignation that more than likely is going to be his next fight. In fact, more than likely is the term of the day for this video, because that's actually what he says in the video. He's up to this day, he has not said the fight is next. He's not said with any kind of conviction. He definitely hasn't said he wants to fight. And he just don't sound too enthused at all. So what he actually says in this video, and I'm a stickler for words. That might be a good or bad trait of mine, depending on where you're coming from. But I'm a stickler for words. And what he actually says in this video is, he says it a few times, in a few different ways, more than likely, this the next fight. And so I'm going to play part of the interview to let you know why I'm just not as enthused as everybody else is. I'm going to play pretty much all of the interviews, as a matter of fact, all the relevant parts as it relates to Shawn Porter and Earl Spence.
Now let me ask you. We talked about this already off camera. Now everybody figures and says that Shawn Porter doesn't want to fight Errol Spence, and he's avoiding the fight. And there was I saw a video once before that you had said right before Errol Spence fought Kell Brook that as soon as whoever won that fight that you wanted that fight. But then you said afterwards, you was like he wasn't on your radar. Could you just address that?
I don't know if I said that exactly, but I'll go ahead and rephrase everything. First of all, let me say this: I'll just speak on me. I always knew that Errol Spence was going to be a champion. You could see the way he was going through everything and everybody, that it was only a matter of time, and who was going to be against was the only discrepancy. Who is he going to become champion? Who is he going to beat to become champion? It happened to be Kell Brook across the pond. And I said, and before he had any championship or anything like that, before that fight was even made, I said, until he has a belt, he's not on my radar. Why? Because I don't think he's done enough in this sport to be in the ring with me or the other guys who were champions at the time. Dude has a belt. It is what it is. When I go get this WBC, it's more than likely going to be me and Errol Spence. I have no problem with that. It is what it is. It's time to make it happen. It's business.
Okay, so first of all, he didn't answer Blue Blood's question. Blue Blood asked him about him saying before Errol Spence got a title, him saying that the winner of him and Kell Brook, he would want that fight. And then after Errol Spence won that title, him saying that he wasn't on his radar. So he went back to rephrase things around to say that he repeated that before Errol Spence got a title, he wasn't on his radar. But he said that now that he's got a title, it's all good. It's ready to go. He's leaving out the part that after Errol Spence won his title for a long while, he was still saying that Errol Spence wasn't on his radar because he wasn't on his radar 2 or 3 years ago. He left that part out, which is what Blue Blood was actually asking him about. He just didn't. So he really didn't answer the question. And as far as him saying he's going to fight Errol Spence next, here it is. The actual words he's using is more than likely. If you didn't hear that, let me play that part again for you so you can catch it.
When I go get this WBC, it's more than likely going to be me and Errol Spence.
One more time for the road.
When I go get this WBC, it's more than likely going to be me and Errol Spence.
Okay, so more than likely. Let's continue on, shall we?
Now let me address one more thing. Kenny Porter has said that in an interview, he did a sit down with Angel, and he said that this could possibly be your last fight. You could possibly retire, and if you did want to fight a certain fighter, then if he wasn't approval of it, then he would put you on the shelf until you was gray haired. How do you address that? Because a lot of people looked at it and said, "Oh, Kenny Porter is looking to have Shawn Porter retire to avoid fighting Errol Spence." So how do you address that?
I think that the first question that one of the first questions you asked me about my dad, running everything, running the show and things like that. I think that it's a double-edged sword because on one hand he has to be my manager and advise me on what to do and which way to go. Obviously, we want to be in this sport. We want to make a lot of money. We want to make a big name for ourselves and leave a legacy and so on and so forth. Until you just said that to me, I had no recollection of what was said there. At the end of the day, if I want to fight and my dad's not allowing me to fight, then we're probably gonna have some problems because if this is what I want to do, then this is gonna be what I want to do. Flip side of that is, more times than not, when I speak to my dad and I tell him what I want, what needs to be done, what I want. If it's in his will, it gets done. So there might be some plays thrown, there might be some fists thrown, but if I want to fight after this fight, that's all the way up to me.
I had to stop it right here. Now listen, again, this dude just ain't sounding right, man. I'm different. I mean, why would you say if I want to fight again, especially the way? Listen to the energy that he says it with. If you were listening to anybody else in real life say if in this kind of way, if I were to do this, you would really take it like it's a possibility that they may or may not do that. He ain't sounding like you would not expect to hear that out of Terrence Crawford or Errol Spence right now. Or if I do decide to fight again. I mean, I don't know where that come from. That's something that you would think would be a given. He's leaving the possibility open. Like if I do happen to want to fight again, if that's what I want to do, I get the point. The point is that he's going to do what he wants to do. But he said that if I do want to fight again, a little bit too much like a person who could consider options to me. That's what it sounds like. I mean, that's what it sounds like to me. And it may sound like I'm doing too much, but listen, just listen to this again. He says, if I fight again, and he says it in a kind of way that like, that is maybe small, but a possibility. Listen.
If I want to fight after this fight, that's all the way up to me.
Okay, maybe I'm tripping, maybe I ain't. I'm just saying, it don't sound right to me. But let's proceed.
If he's saying fight Errol Spence after this fight, I want to fight Errol, I'm not gonna fight Errol. If he's saying fight Keith Thurman after this fight or Errol Spence, and I gotta choose between them two, I'm more than likely gonna fight Errol Spence. Why?
Okay. Now, right there, he went on a ramble that I don't know where that was coming from. Again, I'm trying not to sound like I'm doing too much. From the best I could understand, he was trying to make the point that he does call shots in his career, and he does make decisions, and maybe the bottom line decisions, I guess. But he said, if my father tells me to fight Errol Spence next, and I don't want to have to fight Errol Spence, I'm not going to fight Errol Spence. Then he went on to say some other stuff, but let me just deal with that part right there for a minute. He said, if my father tells me to fight Errol Spence next, and I want to and don't have to fight Errol Spence, I'm not going to fight Errol Spence. Now, I get that he was saying that as a hypothetical to explain that he does what he wants to do. That's what I got out of it anyway. If I got that wrong, somebody please correct me. But check it out. It's certain situations that you can't, if just don't apply to you. For everybody listening to this, you have certain situations that you can't put yourself in a if type of a situation. It just doesn't apply, could never apply. For instance, I mean, no disrespect to anybody that's listening. I respect everybody. So no disrespect to anybody's gender, sexual orientation type of thing, but I'm a straight male. I love women, okay? So if you were to talk about anything outside of that scenario, that can never apply to me. I can never put myself in a if this type of situation. It just would not ever apply. Not if I'm drunk. There's never a situation where if I'm found myself bent up. That's just, we talking about stuff that cannot happen. It's not a if situation that I can create with my mouth or my mind. We all got that. So that says to me, from a subconscious level, that you can even say if. My father's telling me to fight this guy, and I don't want to fight him. I won't fight him. You saying that's something that's within the bounds of what you can conceive. And I know it sounds like I'm doing too much, but really, ask yourself this. Anybody that's been following all of this, can you imagine any set of circumstances where he would have answered this question the same way about a Danny Garcia or a Keith Thurman? Under any questioning, period. Even if it was answering the same question. If somebody was trying to press him about his father making decisions, actually he was answering to the question, the blue blood saying his father, saying if he didn't want him to fight again, he'd put him on the shelf and this and that type of stuff. But could you imagine a scenario where he said, if my father told me to fight Danny Garcia next and I didn't want to, I wouldn't do it. Or Keith Thurman. You cannot imagine that. Again, it's something different with this dude. If I sound like I'm doing too much, maybe I am. I'm a stickler for words. I'm a stickler for what people say. I'm a stickler for demeanor. I'm just a stickler for those things. Those things matter to me. And when I get from what I'm hearing for this guy, it still ain't what I would like to hear from a fighter. But let's proceed.
Why? Because Errol has a bigger name right now. Errol has the belt. Errol's been active. And we don't know what's Keith up to. I'm not going to get in the ring with Keith, and we ain't seen him and God knows how long, and I beat him, and all of a sudden, he was washed up getting in the ring with Errol. I should have just did that in the first place. I'm going to skip that conversation, and I'm going to go on and get Errol.
Right.
So like I said before, after this fight, we do this championship, it's more than likely going to be me and Errol.
Okay, so he went on a ramble there, and it was more basically to explain that he makes his own decisions. But he ended it off again by once again saying the word of the day, or the phrase of the day, is more than likely going to be me and Earl. Let's proceed.
Now, not to look past any opponent, not to look past this Danny Garcia fight, because this is a huge fight. But how do you see a fight playing out between yourself and Errol Spence?
I don't know.
Okay, I'm just gonna stop it right there. You know what? He's had an answer for questions like that in the past against past opponents, against past potential opponents, as far as how the fights would play out and what he would do. But this is the whole thing to the bottom line of my video. The phrase of the day has been more than likely. And I want you to ask yourself, how many times and how many scenarios in your own personal life would more than likely really work for you? If we were working at a job together and your car went down for a few days, and so you had to put it in the shop, and you called me and say, Tiger, could you give me a ride into work tomorrow? And I told you more than likely. Would that work for you? Much more than likely you would get off the phone and start trying to check out some other avenues, or seeing what time you would have to leave to take the bus, or you'd be trying to figure out what else you would need to do to get to work on time if my more than likely didn't work out. If you were about to loan somebody some money and you told them, I need it back by Friday, man, because there's some things I need to handle, and you really needed it back by Friday, and they told you, well, more than likely, I'm going to have it for you. Would that work for you? If your girl told you, look, I'm pregnant, and more than likely it's yours, would that work for you? I already know the answer to those questions. In life, much more than likely doesn't usually apply. The only way we can really use more than likely is if we trying to say that a certain scenario more than likely will play out a certain way. That's the only way that's really relevant in real life. Anytime you use the term more than likely, you're saying that more than likely this is going to happen, but you, by default, you're always leaving room for something else to happen. That's all I'm saying. For everybody who's saying that this man who committed, what I think is I think these guys have said nothing for so long that we've lowered the bar. We've lowered the standard to hear them say anything. We've lowered the standard so low that more than likely works for us now. But if he's saying if he's saying that that's his admission, he's going to fight him next, and people are taking him to that, then hey, we can hold him to his word. He said it, more than likely. The man say more than likely it's going to happen, and I think that more than likely it will happen if he wins this fight. The winner of that fight, I do believe, will get Spence. But I'm not crazy about the way this guy is sounding. He's still sounding different. And you know what? It's just going to be a healthy... You watch this. If he wins this fight with Garcia and he does fight Spence next, it's just going to be a healthy, respectful thing all the way up to the fight. You're just not going to hear no trash talk. You're not going to hear him saying anything like Spence made a mistake, or he's making a mistake if he's depending on this, or he's going to be surprised by my this. All you're going to hear is that the same thing you heard earlier from the Blue Blood Sports TV interview. He's going to give props to Spence, give respect, say he knew he was going to be a champion. We're both two champions. I'm going to bring my A game. I'm sure he's going to bring his A game, and may the best man win type of thing. And it's all good with that. But the bottom line is, up to this date, they got a healthy respect for that man. And up to this date, he has not uttered the words, I want that fight. I want that fight now. He's not uttered. And again, I would be all wrong for making this video if I haven't heard this man come out and say these type of things early in his career. If this was his MO throughout his whole career, I'd be completely wrong for making this video. But we've all heard him talk about his enthusiasm to fight other people. And that enthusiasm ain't there with Spence to this day. That's what I hear, more than likely. That's all I got. I'm out.
That's all I get. Y'all better pay attention. Sit back and take a listen. Did I forget to mention that you don't wanna listen? Shot down. This for the crib. So turn your radios up. 'Cause this is soul music. I put my soul into it. For brothers going through music for the soul. It's something you can feel, y'all. Come on. Town.